Good evening and welcome. 2 minutes late because someone managed to restart their PC. Pressed the wrong button. Everything, it was beautiful. I had everything set up. I was like, this is cool. I've got my socials ready. I just need to post the link. Yeah. Good evening. How are we all? It's been a few weeks. Needless to say, I now have a lot of work to do because whereas I should be like, you know, chilling and all organised because I was all organised, I'm now not all organised and it's all just a bit whir. So yeah, there's that. Good evening, Blissful Badger over on Twitch. Good to see you, my friend. How are you? How have you been? Right, what's going on? Oh, this is good here. Right, what's going? Are we gonna? Can I do the? Can I? Right, I don't. Nice. Save. Right. I think we're almost ready. I think we're almost completely disorganised. I know we're almost entirely disorganised. So that one goes there. This one goes over here. Good. Right. That's three. Good evening, the three of you watching on YouTube. How is everybody? Who's in? Who's not? What's been going on? What's new? I had a lovely week off with the family and did family stuff. And then last week I got back and I was just boof. There was nothing left. We were done. It was all over. So you didn't see me last week. But then I had last week as well, like the working week, that was all busy too. So what have you guys been up to? What's been new with you? What hobby have you been doing? What are you playing? What are you painting? There's been a lot of chatter on Discord of the various things that certain people have been just chewing through like a machine gun, which they names. But yeah, while I do the stuff, yeah, yeah, because that's important. Ooh. The lovely thing is I had crafted these great like social posts for this. They were really good. Yeah, they're gone now. That's not even right. I have to say, you did miss out on some epic language because, oh boy, we were not happy, strangely. Boff. Right, that's that one done. I'm going to stick this one here. Oh, Robin. Is the Vermigos running because we like to party? Yes, we do, Robin. That's delightful. Good evening. How goes the game? Mike, welcome. Hello. Blissful Badger, you've been painting 40k orcs. Well, it is. Yeah, it's still October, so October is a thing. You should be. I know it's gaining steam, but I'm not really seeing it played. Mike, I hear you, and we need to talk about that. We need to talk about Warcrow. That is a thing we are definitely going to talk about. 100%. Because we need to. Something needs to be done. And so it shall be. We will start the revolution this evening. It will be glorious. Really. Yeah. I want to do. I've got. You see it. So you see it in like the video numbers. There's certain things that like when you put out with Warcrow that hits really well, but the stuff for new players doesn't. It sort of tinkles, and that shows to me that what you've got is veterans and experienced players that have bought in. They're watching stuff, but the lower end of things, people coming in, not where it should be. Not where it should be. So we're going to talk about that because I have a lot of love for Warcrow, and something needs to be done. That is that's a terrible social media post. That was terrible. Won't do that. And Blissful Badger, when you post on Twitch and you stick the bouncing badges, I just hear the song. I just hit badger, 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 badger. It's just That's it. That's the whole thing. And I love it. So thank you for that. I missed that. That was the early days of the internet. Oh, you're painting now. I thought you had a game going on, Kuhn. I thought you were schooling somebody from the Dutch Discord, but apparently not. You wonder when the new Anaconda is out, S. It's, I believe, last I heard. Am I totally losing my very fragile grip on reality? Probably. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Anaconda. Well, I thought it was already out. I thought we already had a new Annie. I know that we've seen it. Has it not arrived yet? That's weird. That's weird. Very strange indeed. I played CNN in Warcrow for the first time. Very cool army and very good game. It is, S. It really is. Mike, yes, you're not seeing communities hyping it up or tournaments happening. I need to finish posting this. You guys, you hit me straight away with the interesting stuff, and I'm totally ready for the chat. And then I was ready for the damn chat. I'm fine. I'm fine. Right, let's annoy everyone on the Discord. Boom. Kapooey. I adore the way that when you do at everyone on Discord, it goes, are you sure? You're going to let everybody know. Really? That's what everyone means. You wouldn't think it, but here we are. Yeah. Yeah. Who? What? It says, yes, I'll go to Discord. Oh my God. We need to talk about the kindness of the community. I love it, but it makes my head hurt. People are glorious. They really are. But we're going to come back to that. Kaz! Dear Lord! Is it my birthday? You're actually here. My days. You're here early. It's amazing. Did you skive off what? Thank you, Blissful Badger. Yes, kind. Did you skive off of work just to hang out with me on a Monday day for you? I think night for me. Because if you did, I totally approve of this. This is a good use of your time. Englishman drinking tea with milk. Happiness is here. So what are we doing tonight? We're going to talk a little bit more about Next Wave, because, you know, we've got to talk about the new hotness, because otherwise, where will you be? What did I have on that? I made it like earlier on today. Updates. Oh yeah, the Infinity updates. We're going to talk about that. When is it too much? Yeah, we're going to talk about when is it too much. And everything else. There's a lot to discuss. We have much to do. It's very exciting. You're always working. Kaz, bravo. You're being paid to watch me. I mean, I think that's the only reason I do it myself. But anyway, glorious. We're getting, Mike, I need to chew on Warcrow. Warcrow is something we need to chew on. I want to come back to that. Every time you bring up a topic, I'm like, that's important, I want to come back to it. You just drop these weighty things in the middle of the room, and I'm like, we need to talk about that, but I'm not ready there. I'm not in there. I'm not there yet. Nearly. Not quite. But yeah, CNN. I've got a good friend of mine wants to sell his CNN. He bought them, decided he doesn't have time, and he wants to sell them. And there is a very big part of me that is just like... Now, for context, I sold my Northern Tribes because I don't have the capacity to play 3 armies. So I'm down to 2 armies. Which means that technically I could get I don't know why I'm like this. There's updates. There was many updates. We had huge updates for Infinity a couple of weeks back, and I was on holiday, so we haven't talked about it yet. And I have a whole video in the offing for it, but it's just... It was a lot. I've got to say that... Vlog. Aha, there it is. Yeah. Emmy, buckle up. So I'm a war corps, so we get information from Corvus Buddies that's dropping in, and I think Coney, who wrote that, wrote the update and runs the Warcraw side of things. If memory serves, the day before he said the changelog that we get is 3,500 words. Like, dear God. Normally it's kind of a point here, a point there, a new weapon here, and here's a new profile. This time it was just like, we've just redone the armies. Which, there was something that's been buzzing around the past week or so since that happened, and I don't know if any of you have seen it. Emmy, you are most welcome. There's a lot of info. There's info everywhere. This is one of the things that I'm trying to do with the channel. It's why I want to do a video on this big update that happened from Corvus Belli, even though it's a week out of date, 10 days out of date, which technically means it's useless. It's just done. Everyone's had the conversation, but I want to have that conversation because not everyone sees it, and I kind of want to be a place that you can hop into and go like, okay, what's the last 5 videos? Okay, well, there was an update, and it's there, and we talk about it and all that kind of stuff. I kind of want to do that. Hey, Larkbeard, hello! Almost here on time. I was 2 minutes late because I shut my PC down. So, you know, you're doing fine by comparison to me. So yeah, I kind of want to pull that all together and have that as part of what the Dice Gods is a place where you can kind of come and get the distilled information. I say distilled, I waffle. The distilled information about Warcrow, about Infinity, about Bolt Action, about Flames of War, about Eldfall Chronicles, all this kind of stuff. So I kind of want to do that, but there's so much. There's just this deluge of information constantly, and I have views on it, and that just makes everything longer. So it's the plan. It is the plan. It seems to me there's a huge course correction with Infinity and Warcrow. The resurrection of old sectorial combined with the massive update and quietening down of Warcrow. Coincidence or Mike? M. Nightwind, ayo, good evening, hello and welcome. So, one day, Mike, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you as guest on this live stream, so you can drop that stuff. You can throw that particular hand grenade into the room and then deal with it as well. Get in your number, young man. Can I have a US Ariadne, a blooming army list? Like, just. Radar. It's just too much going on right now, and I'm so dang behind. Chris, I hear you. It's a real. So let's do this. Let's talk about this stuff right now. I'm gonna come. Don't, Mike. Don't you dare shut up. I love what you're bringing, my friend. Bring it forth. Let's talk about. We're going to start with the satellite view. We're going to be zoomed right out. We're going to come back down into the updates and stuff like that. And my initial thoughts, there's more thoughts coming later, but tea, fueling through the thoughts. You legend that you are, Mike. So, as you say, we have had in the past month the new sectorials, next wave, and then the balancing update. All from Corvus Belli, all in a very short period of time. I am under the very, very clear assumption that they're trying to kill the content creators. They started the content creator program, you can sign up, you can become a content creator for them, and then they're just having a cull. It's basically the Hunger Games, but for content creators. How much can you put up and deal with? That's the theory. And of course there was the book release as well. They had a novel that came out, which I still haven't done the interview with the guy that I need to get back to. God. Anyway, by the way. What do we think about these things? Well, Next Wave has kind of... It's landed in a really interesting place for me, because as a sectorial, and now we've got all the profiles, we've got everything there, we've got all the special sauce on the table. Next Wave to me is a little bit like Sandtrap, because it is definitely the new hotness, and it's definitely the thing that people are going to see and they're like, holy cow, I can play dinosaurs? This is amazing. And if that's what you got brought into Infinity to play, and you looked at it and you went, hell yes, that is not the army to learn with. Just like Sandtrap was not the box set to learn the game with. These two things are not newbie friendly, they're not newbie compatible. When you look at them and you look at the way that those forces are structured, even down to the action pack they brought out and the bits that came with it, that was over 300 points. That made my head hurt. It's a case of, right, here's a brand new army and we're going to give you 10 miniatures plus 1, and then, oh, you wanted to use them at the same time. Not WYSIWYG. No. Oh, CB. And the actual way that the army is structured, the way that Next Wave sits together, is incredibly... We've had toolkit armies before where you slap stuff together. Think Toha, and that's kind of... You build a fire team, and that fire team is actually a single organism that does a single thing. And then they came up with Next Wave, and they were like, yeah, but this is that, but it's harder. Okay, good. This is nice. We're going to show the newbies the dinosaurs, and then be like, you want to learn to play with this? No, you don't. Don't be silly. It's I'm a child. So yes, yeah, that was the thing. Next Wave is definitely a thing. It is definitely N5. I've said this repeatedly. It's a pure, thoroughbred N5 army. I think it's a really good indication of the direction that Corvus Belli is going. As a veteran and an experienced player, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. As somebody that spends a lot of time working with newbies, I'm kind of like, oh God, really? Okay, the barrier just went tink. You know? May the odds be ever in your favour. Yeah. You haven't been able to review, but I had an interview booked with him, and then I had to cancel it because my littlest one got ill. And I was like, yeah, I'll rebook it next week. And then I looked at the message from him, and it was like 10 days before that I'd said I'd book it next week, so I missed that. I've got to get back and get that done. Sandtrap did have Kestrel, that's absolutely true, but the problem with Sandtrap was, if you picked up Sandtrap, a 2-player box with terrain, with 2 sets of miniatures, with dice, with tokens, there were no starter rules in there, and if you use the quick start rules, then it doesn't work with that box. QSRs don't work with that box. There's too many units that rely too much on very specific special rules for QSRs to work. So Sandtrap was by far the worst 2-player starter box, but it wasn't a starter box. It was for... Don't get me started. I get the NW. I want Angry Scots, and I want... And being and stuff excites me more than single-use units. It's going to keep my... I hear you. The hype train for Next Wave is real, and I understand it, and I get it. It's just, as an army, it's going to be tough to learn with, because it's not just the and side of things. It's kind of, we have the rain dancers who are irregular, so what you need to do is you need to combine them with a unit who has Fireteam Master, FT Master, which is fine. That turns them regular. We're then good, but that does mean that the unit that has FT Master you then have to keep alive, otherwise that all falls apart. So the way that you use that Fireteam, you normally have to be quite aware of how you're using your Fireteam, but with this, you've got quite an expensive unit that is creating that Fireteam, turning those orders regular, and you have to keep that alive. You have to keep that alive. One of the great ways of taking out a lot of the Next Wave stuff will be fragging the Fireteam Master units. Just bullet in the brain, right, most of your army is now irregular. It's kind of in a permanent state of loss of lieutenant. Oh well, you know, it's a little bit less forgiving. Intentional is my guess, casting a wide net to retain older players while also giving new players the option to get into N5 or Warcrow. Like, yeah, I'd love to agree with you, but I think that gives Corvus Belli... I don't think so. I don't think that's what's happened. I feel like sometimes they get caught up in their own hype, and then they move their own hype out into the world, and that just results in stuff like this. It's not a bad thing, but yeah. The vegan trend didn't get on with Toha, now we try the dinosaur crowd. This is true. The artichokes, Robin, it was a whole look and a whole feeling. But yeah, people didn't like that. And you have to have a certain type of corrupt and dirty soul to play Toha. That remains true. So, you see now, did I get the glyph? Chris, no, the glyph is the free miniature that you should get when you buy the bundle. If you buy them separately, you don't get it. You have to buy the specific bundle and then the glyph comes separate with it. It's a Warcraw. It's not, it's a special limited edition blah, 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 blah thing. It's the bonus miniature. That's what that is. Overboard, what up? Good evening, welcome, hello, good to see you. I mean, I did like Pano, but I don't like how they are mostly shooty bang bang. Afraid I'll get very bored a bit quickly in scenarios and stuff. Yeah, no, they tend towards shooty and don't tend towards thinky. That's absolutely true. But they definitely have a lot of tricks. They have a lot of different play styles, a lot of different ways that you can bring them to the board. And that's where we had mono builds in... Arguably, we had mono builds in military orders. That's no longer the case because the update has kind of taken military orders, stuck it in a bag, beat it with a stick and shaken it up a lot, and now it's a very different thing. If you hit something with a stick, it does tend to get a bit broken, and some would argue more on that. But no, I wouldn't. I've played Pano repeatedly, and you kind of need to look at a standard Infinity army as a ball, and individual armies are sort of stretched in one direction or another. They're a bit more hacky, they're a bit more shooty, they're a bit more stabby. That, you know, they're not massively leaning one way or the other. When you contextualize that and you say that a light infantry inside of Nomads would be BS 11, a light infantry in Pano would be BS 12. So it's a 5% bump. It's a 5% bump, but it's a 5% bump. Likewise, light infantry would be whip 13 for another faction, and with Pano they'll be whip 12 because, you know, we do the violence, we don't do the thinking. It's kind of where they are. So it's not a huge lean either way, basically. And Nightwind, I'm calling you Nightwind from now on. I got started not too long ago with the Essential Start Here box, and after playing a number of games, just that I'm thinking of picking up a Sand Trap. Is that the okay way to progress? Nope, don't do that. Nightwind, no, step away, back. My dog is trying to go to sleep and has just headbutted the door. They say that animals take after their owners. So, what's wrong with that? Inside of Sand Trap, you will find Kestrel Colonial and you will find Shindabutai. They are sectorials, they are sub-factions of Pano and JSA. Inside of the Essentials box, you will find miniatures that go into generic JSA, generic Pano, and some other places, but specifically not Kestrel or Shindan. Those miniatures are not compatible. There are Essentials action packs which can be added to the Start Here pack for each of those armies. I think there's 7 miniatures in each, and that will bump you up and is compatible with generic, and will get you going in the right direction, essentially. So buy that, not Sand Trap. Sand Trap is effectively starting a new army. I have no consideration. I mean, it's Infinity. There are very few players out there who are good enough to not get their ass handed to them at some point. It's going to happen. And when you're learning, yeah, it's going to happen. That's absolutely true. So, you know, got to keep your head clear on that one. Chris, if you had got, yeah, buddy, you know where I am. Ping me, it's all good. Coon, no longer shooty, can do some hacky now really well. Yes, they can, you broken. Anyway. Kaz, Mo and Military Orders and Kestrel do have lots of fun ways to play now. They have got... We're going to talk about that when we talk about the update in a minute. They've had their tactical options expanded, and that's a, you know... I'm afraid my info is outdated. Crap. I mean, it's been 15 minutes since you checked anything. If it's more than that, consider it's changed. It's just how this world works. Space Knights. Emmy, speak to Kuhn up there, the number 1. He's definitely, when you want to know anything about Pan-Oceania, Machine, as he's called locally, is definitely the one to ask. Scots, Next Wave, Space Knights. What? This is Infinity, you only need 10 miniatures. Sorry. Oh dear, sometimes you just can't keep a straight face and say it. Oh, Vincent, good evening, buddy. Good to see you. Welcome. Hello. How you doing? Are you well? Did you win on Saturday? I think you won on Saturday, didn't you? Or did you lose? No, you won. I think you won. It's good. Kaz, Lies Midnight, by all the means, don't listen to his reason. I say the reason and I don't mean it. I just like, definitely. Orc and Shikami can be used as reinforcements to the Kestra and Shindabutai. Much as that is absolutely true, you can use them in reinforcements. Finding somebody that's prepared to play a reinforcements game and then adding those additional rules in to complicate things. If you're using reinforcements, you still need to have a core army on top of that. And it's, yeah. Reinforcements is a different thing, and I hope that one day Corvus Belli sort it out, but they haven't done yet. That's, you know? Nightwind, if you want to go Kestrel, buy Sandtrap. Buy Sandtrap. Learn with Start Here. You've got your terrain from Start Here, you've got your dice and your tokens from Start Here. Pick up Sandtrap. More terrain. Those two sets are actually compatible and they work together really well. They're a similar sort of look and feel. They're based on Shinju. It looks really nice together. So you'll have more terrain from more map, which is fab. But your miniatures will not be compatible for a normal game, which is what you should be playing at this point if you're just starting out. Yeah, you won. I thought you did. You're getting a little bit of a streak with this game. It's a bit worrying. You only have 61. Is that all? My military orders was close to that when I sold it. Chris, I will say I've almost flushed out Tunguska. There were a lot of models. I know. I had a moment of weakness the other day where I realised that I had some money to get rid of, because sometimes you do. And so I ended up buying the Triggermen. I don't like miniatures on the 2 miniatures on 55mm. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like ARO pieces. I'm not. Oh, it does a K1, does it? All right, I'll buy them. I have complete control over my spending. Bakunin and the Murder Nuns. Oh, I keep so my wife, aka Lilith, she plays Bakunin. And she's played Bakunin since she started at N3. So she's been playing a while. And she's done horrible things to me with the Murder Nuns. It's just, ugh. In fact, funny story, when we lived in the UK, she used to go to the gaming store with me and she would play there. Her army got such a reputation. You know, one of our guys, she ran Uber Full Commandos a lot. They changed their name to the Uber Fun Police, is how they were called locally, because if you're having fun, she'll stop it with her Uber Fun Police. So I want to buy them, but I'm kind of leaving it alone. My egg? What eggs? What? Fix your shelf. What shelf? Monsieur Panzer, straight into your hobby box of precious stuff. What eggs? Have I got eggs? I think I would have noticed. I don't think I have. 3 for 3, but still only intro games. That's absolutely true. And Vincent, I think you've got a game coming up with Kuhn. So, as in, he'll be. Oh no, you're going to be up against Michael, aren't you? Oh my dear Lord. That'll be fun. Emmy, yeah. Murder Nuns, grr. They're a lot of fun. I resisted. I'm doing well. Right, you two, no arguing. No trying to convince the newbie that you're right, because you're both right, and you should get all of them, Emmy. It's clearly the case. Raven, good evening. Ashley Spores isn't more. Before I forget, I really thought you were going to risk that US Ariadne as your questless friend to Planetario, but I understand. Mike, here's the thing. US Ariadne, as it stands at the moment, I owned US Ariadne for a while, and they were fine, but they didn't absolutely take over my soul and my very thought process and my reason for existing, which Shock Army did. They were quite good fun. I liked having like the dog units around the place, and the bikes were quite funky and all that kind of stuff. And they were, grunts are just nasty as units, but it never really, you know, it never really did the thing. Raven, Saladin. Yeah. No. Oh, yes, the Emmy, the Stigmata. Oh, the Stigmata is absolutely bad. In fact, there's two tags. There is the Lizard from memory and the Stigmata. The Stigmata is the only tag at the moment that's currently a specialist in and of itself, which is horrible, because this thing just goes stompy, 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 and you stick a Mars Spider and you duo them in a fire team and they go stompy, stompy, stompy. It's just horrible. Don't do it. It's great. Not against me. Do it, but not against me. That's how it works. Ricardo. Good evening, young man. Good to see you again. Twice in 1 week. Fantastic. Hello. Wait, there are fun Police Infinity. Yes, there are. Uberfall Commandos. They are in Bakunin. They are incredibly fast, incredibly killy, stabby, McStab face, mutated humans with a lady with a whip, with cat ears and a tail. It depends entirely what you're into. But if you get those, they cost next to nothing, and you fire them at your opponent. Yeah. And they just kind of go across the board. And when they land on something, pretty much anything, it's not there at the end of the order. That's kind of their whole thing. They kind of delete, delete, delete. It's glorious. So they are the final frontier. I hope not. I hope they're the start of something great next year, Mike. I hope that US Ariadne gets the... We've been promised a rework. We will get the rework. It'll be glorious. And I hope that... I don't know. I think that my problem with US Ariadne is they always felt incomplete. It's like, yeah, but... Yeah. Like, they ran out of ideas. They needed a bit more zhuzh, a little bit more va-va-voom, a little bit more, you know? So hopefully they get that next year. That would be good. The Stigmata is Seocast, so take your time when putting it together, but it is... Dude, can any of us paint? Well, actually, Robin can paint. That's absolutely true. I know quite a few people that can paint, and I'm doing okay. But, yeah, don't just... You only get better by doing it. So do it. It'll be great. Still waiting on the Apache attack helicopter flyer for Ariadne. If they bring out an Apache, I'm going to have all kinds of issues. When I was a kid... So when I was a kid, I wanted to be a tank driver. That was the first thing when I was like a wee person. And then I heard about the Apache, and I was like... And then I saw what the Apache did to tanks, and I was like, I need one. That's what I want to do that. And then I was going to be in the RAF, and that's a different story. But that's a different story for ages. But I used to know a ridiculous amount about the Apache and all the rest of it. And was it Flight of the Apache? That terrible 90s movie. I watched that so many times because Apaches are good. They're just a malevolent force in the universe. And in fact, where I live, Apaches are based relatively locally, so I see them on a regular basis, and I recognise the sound. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'm going outside for a look. Oh, it's so pretty. So if they bring out an Apache equivalent for Ariadne, I am in all kinds of trouble. My whole thing of getting my collection under control will be summarily ejected. And that'll just be by the faction, basically. That will be the thing that we do. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about the update. We'll talk about the big update. So we had Next Wave launched, and that is what it is. Then we had the return of the sectorials, so the reintroduction. I think they always said we'll get around to it one day, but I think the problem was that when they did it, they lost a lot of players. A lot of veterans went. I know, honestly, I know about 8 that just went, nah. If you're going to do that, nah. Some of them have come back, now the armies have come back, but I think they realised, or they appreciated that was a miscalculation. They thought they could get away with it and not do that work, because, I mean, I had a conversation with somebody. There's going to be I'm hoping to do a couple of videos with somebody who was intricately involved in the development of this stuff, has knowledge, and we're going to talk about how it all came about. But I think that they realised they didn't fucked up, and they dropped it in. And I think they also did it around the same time as Next Wave, because they knew there was going to be some pushback from some people, which there was, of why are we giving this to Combined? We don't need this. We need other stuff. So it was kind of a bit of a smoke screen, a little bit of a course correction because they screwed up, you know? That's my view. That is my view on that. But I think they did a cracking job. I mean, that will have cost them thousands and thousands of euros, tens of thousands of euros, I've been told, to achieve. And they did it. And they're not going to make any money off of it because a lot of stuff that they re-brought into the game is OOP. So they're not exactly going to make sales from it. Which is kind of CB at their best when they're working for the community and listening to the community and tuning to the community. They shouldn't have done it in the first place. They've undone it. This is good. So, Next Wave and the return of the sectorals. Prometheus paints. I can't wait for missiles to get an anti-air mode. Don't. Watch the video on Friday. In fact, no. Members get it on Thursday. There's a video coming out this week and we talk about flyers. Anyway, it's going to be good, but it's not a tier list. Anywho, I'm a bad person. So, no shade, just comedy. So, then we had the big drop of the rebalancing. So we knew that this was coming. This has been coming down the pipe for a while. We knew that... Broken! Yes, Coon, flyers are broken! Some flyers are broken. Some of them are meh, and other ones are broken. But anyway, so we knew that we were getting a rebalancing for Combined Army, and we knew that we were going to get a rebalance for Military Order specifically. Those landed with some tweaks and some tightening of screws in other places as well. Now, first, bravo CB. The reason that we didn't get a physical rulebook with N5 was they were going to be focusing on it more being a living rulebook, which lets them do these kind of major rebalances and these regime restructurings and the additional rules, which we also got with Next Wave, so they can build those straight into the rulebook, which they've done. This is great, you know, if you're going to stop people like me from owning the books. Over there, I've said it before, N1 all the way through to the end of N4, all of the books are there, all the expansions, I own all of them. That makes me happy. The fact there is not, we've got the N5 lore book, I wanted a rule book. I'll live. I'm a big boy, I can cope. But the reason that, you know, one of the reasons they gave that was, I've just seen that out of the corner of my eye, overboard. I'm not dignifying that with a response. Have I got mute on here? Mute controls. Anyway, so you sort of completely blew my brains out then. Yes, they do, 100%. Thank you, Robin. So we knew this was coming down the line. We knew this balance was coming and it was going to arrive, and then that was why the no books and all the rest of it, which I do deeply regret and I wish that we had. But what's kind of arrived is the change to military orders actually doesn't make me very happy. We'll talk about why in a second. And the downgrade to combined, generic combined army has been in a strong place for a while. Is it too strong? Some people say yes. I don't think it's massively strong. But I kind of expected more. I thought if we're going to rebalance something that is so potent, there is going to be a big course correction. And it was, you know, there was a course correction. It just wasn't as big as I anticipated. I thought it would be more. I thought it would be stronger. I thought it would be more potent, and it wasn't. And that's, you know, that's Corvus Belli's choice. That's their decision. But I would have kind of wanted more, which is a shame. Anyway, they know what they're doing. They're aiming. If you haven't heard, the objective was to kind of pull all armies into an acceptable win rate. They've kind of got this box. I think it's about 15% that they aim for. All armies within that band. So bringing generic combined down a bit, catapulting military orders up a bit, and just making everything around the midline. We call that balance. That's, you know, if everything's there or thereabouts the same in one way or another, then it's down to the skill of the player and everything's good. But I think, I don't know, time will tell, but I think generic combined players weren't crying enough. There was a little bit of like, oh, I've lost my flash pulse on... Yeah, I know, and you've lost a unit here and you've lost a unit there, but I think it maybe could have done with more, but that's just my view. I don't know. That was days ago, Mike. They've done well, but then this last weekend we saw a big tournament in Spain, was won by Cosmoflot, where Shock Army Vacant Spento came 5th. Suck it. I actually like CB not doing knee-jerk changes, but gently dialing stuff. Sven, hello Sven, good evening buddy, welcome, good to see you. How you feeling? Robin's here, be careful. He did horrible things to you, it's terrible. But yeah, also good evening, yes. I agree with you, I agree with you with not doing knee jerk. I feel like sometimes they do. There have certainly been points where adjustments have been made and I've been like, well, I saw that on Reddit. Which is not, I believe, how we should make decisions about the way that our game is balanced, just so I'm clear. But yeah, I think adjusting... Hello, Bram. Good evening. Welcome. Hello. I think that is a good thing, that they are more considered. And it's, yeah, I don't know. They thankfully keep a lot of things behind closed doors, but like I said, I'm hopefully going to do a nice chat with somebody who has some inside information at a certain point, and when we do that, I'm hoping to pull that back a little bit, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I thought that was Space Gods who won, or was that Barcelona? I think it was Barcelona. This came up on Reddit on Saturday that Cos had won. Which was, or Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, the Cos had won, but it was definitely Cos. Go Cosmo! Yeah, it's nice to see Ariadne getting some wins. It's how it should be. Who got the best glow up with the update? Military Orders by far. They absolutely got tweaked. And I'll be honest with you kids, I'm not sure I'm a fan. Now, there is a little bit of, you know, man yelling at a cloud, but hear me out. Just stay with me for a minute. Military Orders are the heavy infantry, violence, close combat, rough, you know, no subtlety, just in your face force. That's their whole thing. That's their whole shtick. Turns out they're really good at hacking all of a sudden. They've got this capacity to hack, which is quite potent. And that's not, for me, what... Kaz! Thank you, Kaz, that's very kind. Nice. I'm not hating. Right. I used to own Military Orders. The reason that... Right. 18 months ago, 2 years, I decided that I wanted to do Infinity on hard mode because I hate myself. And so I went out and I bought Military Orders, who were in a terrible place. This was during N4. And I bought Invincible Army, who were in a terrible place. I actually bought Invincible Army at the Interplanetary before last, so 2023. And they were both, those armies were in a terrible place. I worked out my paint scheme for Military Orders. Sorry, for Invincible Army, and you know, I was quite happy with it. It's looking quite cute. Come on, focus, you bastard. Right, there we go. It's quite a cute little paint scheme, so I was chuffed with that. So I started working quite heavily on my Invincible Army, getting that up to speed. And my Military Orders, I had a bit of an idea, and I kind of put that idea, I sketched it out on the minis, and I was kind of slapping it together, and I never got round to it because I was doing the Invincible Army. Having two unpleasant armies to play type of thing was enough. You know, I needed 1, not 2. So the military orders went, but there was no hate. I loved them. I owned way too many. I think I sold my... I can't remember what I sold. I sold a couple of armies, and I just went and bought military orders, and then I built all the military orders. I just had everything. It was brilliant. So yeah, it was. There's no hate. Absolutely no flash. They can compute it. It's absolutely true. They can compute it, but my feel for military orders was very much that you had DeFersen in there, who was a reasonable hacker. He wasn't godlike, but he was a reasonable hacker. And then you had the rest of the list, and it was kind of fine. And they've just kind of had the tweaks done to them. They've just had like this bit added and that bit added, and we've got repeaters and stuff like that. They've just turned into this hacking thing, which, with an army that's focused on heavy infantry, was one of the hard counters for them. It's something that I had faced and used against them. Like, we've got these heavy infantry coming across the board. Yes, they've got stealth, but at some point, they've got to do something other than go stealthy. At that point, I am hacking that out of them. And now that's a very poor life choice. You know, I think DeFersen is the worst. I know he's whip 14. This is whether I can get this out before Kuhn just rattles off the stuff off the top of his head, because the boy knows. Where are you? Gabriel DeFersen. So, BS14, BTS 6, and this is on a 2 Vita unit with a hacking device with upgraded Trinity with +1 special die. Dodge +1, It's just incredibly capable, you know, a BTS 6 hacker with whip 14 and an upgrade on Trinity to get that +1 special dice. Yes, he's 42 points. He's only 42 points, 46 points if you want to get him with a decent weapon. It's a bit much. It's a bit much, guys. Calm down, CB. I have to ask, you always talk about building and painting an army, then selling them. Why are you always selling armies? So, it goes like this. You hear about the stuff that gets sold and gets rotated through, and you don't hear about the stuff that gets held onto, like Corregidor, Tunguska, Shock Army, this damn time, lesson learned. There are certain armies that I adore and I love, and they stay. My Germans for bolt action is definitely going to be one of them. If I buy an army and it's sat in a box for more than 18 months or 2 years, because I've been playing a load of other stuff, then it becomes stuff. It's not an army, it's just stuff. It's stuff that I'm storing. And I don't like that. I don't like having cupboards full of stuff, especially if it's not painted stuff. And sometimes it's because I've had enough of that army, and not in a temporary way, like, ugh, I don't want to play this for a bit, but like, I'm done with it. And I had a fully painted Chasvasi force, and for over 18 months, the only time it came out of the box was for demos. It was the same 5-6 miniatures would come out of the box and be used for demos, and then they go back in the box, and the rest of the X 100-point army did nothing. They were never used. And I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Why don't I use an army that I actually love and use that as a demo army? And then this army has no purpose, and I can shift it to somebody who does. I actually sold that to one of our newbies in the community because he was looking to get into Shaz, but he was like, yeah, it's quite expensive to buy the amount that I need. And I was like, well, buy this then, because it needs a new home and you're going to love it and all the rest of it. And I think it was in action over the weekend, so job done. But yeah, it's just, I'm not a great believer in just hoarding stuff. It's not a good thing. It's not good for the soul, and there's no point in doing it. It's just blatant capitalism. So yeah, get rid of it, buy something that you do love and spark joy and move forward, which is even worse for capitalism. You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. I know what I mean. Kuhn, yes, he does indeed have easy access to firewall. Being a heavy infantry, you can put fairy dust on him and suddenly, but I think there's some combinations of different units he can be added with that have got tin bots as well. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Kuhn. But yeah, DeFersen is a lot. Does that make sense, Kaz? The selling of armies. So yeah, military orders, they've lost one of their disadvantages. like quite markedly, and gained another aspect in which they can be played, which is a diluting for me of flavour. The flavour of them was, and now it's not. Is it progress? Is it very N5? Yeah, possibly, but fair and admirable then. I like stuff, and if I got rid of things I didn't get to play, I would end up selling everything. Guys, I get it. It's horses for courses. I have... Oh, God. There's a friend that I had many years ago. He had a legitimate man cave. This was back in my GW days. And you went into this man cave, and it was just sealed GW boxes. And I mean floor to ceiling. Hundreds upon hundreds of boxes. We went through it one day. He had parts to a Reaver Titan. He had everything from 2nd edition all the way to current, which was then 6th or 7th edition, for entire armies, just in there, boxed. And it made him happy. He knew where everything was. If you had a question and there's something you wanted to look at, I was after some Eldar at one point, and we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I want to get some Warlocks and stuff, but, I'm not a fan of the new miniatures. The old ones were lovely, but the new ones are, I'm not so keen on, for various reasons. He was like, well, actually, I've got 2 boxes of the original N2, so just give me a second. And he came down with this sealed N2 Warlock host, like with the Farseer and everything in there, the old school one. So I was like, wow, okay. And worked out a deal and all was good. But some people like storing stuff. For me, it's weight on my mind, because if it's not finished, it needs to be painted. So it's on my to be painted list, which is already excessive. And if it's with stuff that isn't being played, I have no justification for painting it. If I've got stuff that I am playing, then I'm going to paint that first, which means those 50 or 60 miniatures of military orders are going to sit there as a weight on my brain, as stuff in my cupboard, and they're not going to see the painting table anytime soon. So, yeah. Anywho, we're going to come back by the looks of things, because you guys are waffling away. Oh yeah, we're still talking about the update. So can we talk about TAC? Tartare, the Ruskies. So they had a glow up as well, and it's a bit more or less impressive. TAC, I think, TAC is one of the sleeper armies in this current edition, I think. They have a very specific set of play styles, but they do have some flex within that. You can put down, I owned TAC, just for a change, I owned TAC, 20, 21 camo markers in deployment. Entirely achievable without breaking a sweat. Perfectly legit, perfectly legal. There are very few armies that can face that volume of camo markers and feel comfortable. I mean, yes, we now have sensor on every blooming third fly, but you know what I mean? It's definitely awesome. They've had a tweak, and they arguably needed it, and hopefully people will wake up to the glory that lies in the East with TAC and their capabilities. They are. Collection to rival my own. There's a man admitting a problem. Well done, Blissful Badger. It's okay as long as you talk about it. Raven, Pano and its sectorials suffer from being underpowered. Yeah, I hear you. I wish they did. That would be nice for a change. That would be a nice change of pace. If we get into N6 and suddenly they're crap. Anyway. I'm trying to buy less as I'm making dioramas and weird conversions more and more, so I need less actual miniatures. Good for you, buddy. That's the way forward. Everyone, there's this concept of like hobbying in the right way and all the rest of it. Find the way that you love. Mordred, who's another member of the channel and a good friend of mine, he is forever converting things. There's not a 15-minute stretch goes by that he doesn't like put a picture up and you're like, what the hell is that? Well, that's this part of this miniature and this part of this miniature and the head of that one and some green stuff, and then I nailed this to the back. And there's this what looks like a Corvus Belli miniature that you've never seen before, and it's because he's nailed together 15 of them and turned it into something Frankenstein's, Yes, Bram, Mordred does indeed play in his own game universe. The Mordred cinematic universe. It's already taken, we can't use that, but you get the idea. And his stuff is beautiful, and he paints them. He's got a very unique style of the way that he paints, and I love it. It's brilliant. Excuse me. So yeah, good for you, buddy. Raven, I'm actually quite happy my faction of choice wasn't touched even a little bit. What's your faction of choice currently, Raven? Mike, I feel like we need to increase to 20 miniatures. Oh, God. The correct term there, Mike, is we need to go back. We need to go back, because we were there in N3, N2. I miss it. I miss it. It's my big... I mean, Mirror Vision's okay, but everything's been bumped up, and it's just disappointing. I've discussed it before in depth. 2025 order pool armies for me in Mirror Vision was not a problem. I had no issue with that at all, and running it in time. But the problem is a lot of people aren't quick enough and aren't decisive enough and don't know the list well enough, so it just becomes this really slow game, and it gets tar pitted, and you can easily find yourself in a position where you're just taking too many AROs because there's so many miniatures on the board. And yeah, I get it. I'd love it. But you do have that option. There is a free play mode in ITS where you can play without the limitation of 50 minis. So that is an option, Mike, already, technically. Weirdly, I'm tinkering with my AdMech performing an autopsy on a Kroot scene as we speak. It's just... That's a hobby you have right there. That's, if you have a picture of that anywhere that can be accessed on the internet, put it in the chat, please. Nuclear, the world needs to see this. Goon, Emo is still a Pano army with arguably the weakest shooting and no real alpha strike potential. That part hasn't changed. What has improved is the ability to shore up its traditional vulnerabilities. See, I really disagree. The ability to slap together 5 heavy infantry in a pain train that all has stealth. You've got to see the damn thing, and if you see the damn thing, there's going to be a Hospitaller at the front with a heavy machine gun when you're a distance back, and then it gets close and you've got Joan at the front with a Spitfire or a Deferzen with a Spitfire, and then when it's in your back lines, your backfield is dead. They can be incredibly sort of alpha strikey. It remains a midfield force. Hang on, have they removed the Hospitaller and nobody told me? Last time I checked, we still had heavy machine guns inside of right, filter, weapon. I'm checking now. You've got me paranoid. Heavy machine gun. What the Crozier's got? Well, that's, I think somebody's. The Croziers now have a heavy machine gun. I know I've missed that one entirely. The Hospitaller HMG is still there. Tikbalangs and Sierra. So yeah, you only have 2. But the Hospitaller, a BS14 HMG, 32 points, 1.5 SWC, you can get that into a 4. So you still get that. I guess the Hospitaller fire team is still a thing. I've started looking at this, but I haven't done that yet. Where is he? Yeah, you can still slap that all stuff together in the Crusader fire team, the Knight Hospitaller, Joan of Arc, and Deferzen in a core fire team that works. That's an option. So yeah, I don't see the problem. You can do the whole Dakar and unpleasantness across the board. That's still one of the options. So they are a potent alpha strike. I've seen it done. I've nearly gotten it off myself. So disagree with you there, buddy. But you know. Oh, it hasn't updated my numbers. I might have 100-ish miniatures now. I guess I need to go through the purchases again. I mean, it's a start, Blissful Badger. Definitely a start. 2 mines deal effectively with those heavies. But if I'm going first, I can outmaneuver those. There's ways of dealing with it. And that's, you've got to get all of them. And if I'm active phase, then I'm not. You can alpha strike with it. I disagree on that one. But that's the joy of the game, isn't it? There's so many. I have that with players that I play with locally. You sit down and you go, yeah, well, this army just plays this way, doesn't it? And they're like, no, it plays this way. And you're both right. Love it. It's the joy of the system. Makes me happy. Makes me very happy indeed. But I think that they've course corrected a little bit far with the military order side of things. I think I need to dig in a little bit further, but as it stands at the moment, it feels a little bit much for my liking. I'd rather not count minis. Yeah, Kaz, it's about 1.5% of my overall minis collection. Raven, Assassins. They didn't get touched. Did they need to be touched? It's probably not safe to touch them. Wouldn't recommend it. Not a good life choice. But a very beautiful faction, I have to say. And they're still an interesting place. Hack as a whole is in an interesting place. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them get a little bit more pokey, but they've now got 2 flyers as well, haven't they? I think does Assassin get either of them? I think you get the Ornithopter one, don't you? I think. I swear, when they move this... Oh no, you don't. You don't get any flyers. Oh, sad panda. That's disappointing. I mean, you've got the Shakush, but it's not quite the same. Fixing Scar Camo tokens. I know, Robin, you're a special little sausage. I appreciate you for that. I'm looking forward to engaging them and then getting a sensor of some description and just going, puh. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. It's a shame you're not coming to that tournament at the end of this next month. I say that tournament. Dear Lord. We're having a... my continued plans to help or to train up other local wargamers to be... Sorry, Wheelchairs version 2. Yes, bro. To be... TOs and ready to run at the satellite that we have next May continues, and I thought I'm going to run a newbie because we've got lots of newbies. I'm going to run a newbie tournament, so we get the newbies in, get a couple of veterans in to sort of hold their hand, not do it as an ITS tournament, do it as a light friendly tournament, doing that. And yeah, we have 24 players. I'm not sure how that happened. Yeah. I thought it was going to be 14, which is kind of manageable, and there's 24. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. And it's going to be completely bonkers as well, because the veterans, I've put limitations on the veterans of stuff they can't bring, like tags and anything more than a Harris fire team. So if you've got an army that can have a Corps and a Harris, you can only have 2 Harrises. Stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting. A lot of the veterans are taking the opportunity to be like, okay, so I've got this dumb idea. This is going to be good. It's going to be so much fun, but... can actually run military orders without Seraph now, which opens up more flexible builds. Yeah, I hear you. You can. I agree with you on that front. Well, yeah, but I wouldn't have run Seraph. Again, it's how you play and how I play. The Seraph is powerful, but I think there are other options. Mike, Blackjacks need anti-air load. Everyone needs anti-air loadouts. There needs to be a counter. This latest update. Ask me the question, who did the best out of the last update again? Because actually, I want to say Mo, but what I want to actually say, in honesty, is the Flyers. Because the ones that got buffed in there, they didn't need it, and then it happened. Let's talk more positive. How solid did the new Cullies look? And please, 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 can the new Wave Flyer be it? Kaz, one. I think it's important to have honest conversations about the system. I think it's healthy. I think that it's useful to put ideas out there, challenge them, get feedback, go backwards and forwards. I've seen communities where the only conversation tolerated is positive, and that's just not healthy because it's not true. And it makes, from my perspective, especially with what I'm doing as a YouTuber, whatever it is I'm doing over here on the internet and you guys are watching, that I'm happier with. The risk is, especially when you're part of a content creator program, that you feel the weight, and I do, of being positive. Everything's great. And I think if that weight, if I felt that pressure to the point where it was going to implement what I was, or change what I was putting out there, I'd stop the channel, I'd shut down. Because like when Next Wave came out, when I got my hands on it, I was kind of excited to see it, and then it turned up in my hands, and I was like, oh, this isn't for me. And so when I came to my review, my initial thought was to turn around and go, yeah, this is cool, they're really nice miniatures, it's great that it's not Seacar, sorry, and all this kind of stuff, and just kind of be like, yay. And then I thought about it and I was like, well, actually, that's not how I feel. That's not how I feel about this. And I do have some negative feelings about Next Wave, and I can back them up. I got receipts, I've got reasons for that, and that's fine. And I think it's important to put those things out there, because one of the feedbacks that I got when I threw that out there was a lot of people coming back and going, oh, thank God, I agree. I don't know why they went with humans. I don't know why they went with this. I don't get it, and it doesn't gel with me. And it's not. I'm not an influencer. Cocoon, get in the bin. Although somebody did say to me today, did say in a comment on YouTube, they asked whether it would be okay if they saw me to come and talk to me. I was like, no, I don't speak to my public in the street. Just stay away from. God, we really. I was like, of course you can. I'm just a gamer. Just come say hi. It's fine. It's very strange, but the new kit. But yeah, Kaz. So I think there's a difference between being negative and being toxic, and being honest. So, but yeah, the new Achilles did look sweet. The fact that it's going to come with 2 arms, so you can build it in 2 different ways. One with a gun and one with, I think it's one with a gun and one with a shield, or one with a sword and one with a shield. I think that's cool. I miss that customizability, so you can express the miniature the way you want it. Very nice touch by Corvus Belly. Thank you very much. So it will be the tournament will be madness, Robin. It's a shame you won't be there. Lots of new players I've collected. Yes, we have. As of now, of the 24, there are 10 of them are newbies, which is great. It's a nice, healthy community we have going on. When is the newbie tourney? It is the 22nd of November. Yeah, so you're welcome to. Do I know you, Emmy? Are you a local player? It's one of those things where you chat away to people, and I've had this a couple of times, chatting away to people, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I actually know you. Well, that's what you call yourself on the internet? Okay, I'm judging you now. I've got 2 of the bloody things. Really awesome that you built so many new players. We got 2 to stick with our Escalation League out of the 8. And great idea, limiting the vets so they can't stomp. Yeah, it's Gaz, first of all, good job. Any players that you get converted in it's an epic thing. You know, you take the thing that you love and you show it to people, and hopefully they connect with it, and hopefully they come to you for the journey. Bram over on Twitch land as well, he's also a great one at bringing in new players. It's a skill to get people to come, to try, to engage, and to love, and all the rest of it. And I'm very fortunate that the community that is around me, when these new players come in, they come to this warm, cuddly, fluffy environment where, you know, we have Machine Coon there, who is a hell of a player. He's a hell of a competitive player. But when you're a newbie, he will support you. He will guide you. He won't batter you. He'll pull his punches, and he'll help you to have a good experience in the game and to learn something, to learn a way and develop and grow. Even our ultra competitive players are happy to spend the time and to invest the energy in bringing the community on, and that's makes my life just 100 times easier, because I'm not building this community on my own. I'm not bringing new players on my own. I have this crew. I'm so grateful for that. Always have been, always will be. So yeah, influencer, I'm not. I've been accused of that a few times, and I don't feel that. Yeah, very strange. Anyway, didn't know it was customizable. Must have missed that. Yeah. I don't know that I can do this comfortably. Can we do this comfortably? Hang on. Let me see if I can find the thing. If I can find the thing, I'll show you the thing. Excuse me. That was healthy. Right. Can I show you this without it making my computer implode? Just do it. I'm gone! Yay! Hang on. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Right. So there's Achilles with the gun. And hopefully Here he is with a sword. Gun, sword, gun, sword, sword, gun, sword, gun, sword, sword, gun. So a customizable mini based on which you happen to choose, which is kind of funky, I think, and a nice touch by CB. Nice to see them doing stuff like that. It's especially with a key unit like that, because let's be honest, there's going to be a few of them around, especially when they first land soon. And yeah, it's nice that you don't have to have, everyone has to have the same one. I approve this message. Ah, Emmy, okay, yes, I know who you are. Hello. Well, good, thank you. Glad you're here. Can't play the game if you have nobody to play with. Won't see if we've got time. Emmy, if you come down, I will, on the 22nd, I am actually playing in the tournament. But no, you are more than welcome to come around and hang around with Gitsnick, who will be the TO for the day. He's a very nice mammal, and will, show you, and you can see the whole anarchy that will be unfolding at that point as 12 tables of infinity happen. We found out that when you get over 17, you're supposed to have 5 rounds in the tournament. We're doing 3. So that was a thing. Anywho, but no, please do. You will be more than welcome. Connect with me on WhatsApp and we'll get it sorted. That's the thing I found with the Infinity community. Everyone is massively excited to talk, and I've never seen anyone just try to bash a new player. It is gratefully, I'm so pleased to say, Kaz, these days it's rare. Magnet time, wow, yes. There was a time when it was certainly true, when you got a certain breed of person into the community, and they would be toxic. They would just, demo the game by smashing the newbie across the room. Those days are gone, and I'm really pleased to see it. It's really a positive sign for the future of the system. Let's say, I need to keep calling myself Emmy though. Coon's already been taken. No, right, Emmy. Coon is machine. So you can be Coon until we figure out what you are, and we finish poking you with a stick to establish what your nature is, and then you shall be given a name and it will be glorious. So, but no, Coon is machine. Okay, so I guess I'm going to get 2 more Achilles and I have 5. There is always a need for more Achilles. Because there was one point where we had the small one, and then we had the limited edition one, and then we had the, it's always more of the blonde Adonis. It's always worth it. More Coon, absolutely. Properly spelled as well. Yes, you both Coon in the right way. I'd never known anyone called Coon, and then I moved to the Netherlands, and now I can't throw a reasonably sized plastic miniature without hitting 5. It's quite distressing. But thankfully they're quite nice, so, it's not all bad. So, but yeah, so the big update that we've just had from CB, I think is a good thing. I think we need to see how it comes out in the wash. I will miss that Achilles heel for miniature orders. I think plugging that up is not the way that I would have expected them to do it, to get them as a hacking capable army with a network that they can build. Yeah, but we shall see. Trust the process sometimes. Coons multiply when poked with sticks. I can believe that, actually. Of every Coon that I've met, that is almost certainly true. Also, side note, if you hear a weird noise in the background, my dog is in her bedroom over there, and she's dreaming. So I've just got a little woof 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 noise in the background. So she's happy, which is important. So yeah, I'm going to do a dive onto that update and talk about thoughts and highlights and lowlights and all that kind of stuff. The tack changes, all the rest of it. I'm going to run through that. I'm not going to do a deep dive. I saw somebody today a 2-hour deep dive into the military order changes, and I was just like, wow, I could definitely do that. No, I'm not doing that. No one needs to see that from me. I mean, from them, great. From me, yeah, no, you don't need to see that. So that's going to come. That's on the list. I have a list because I had these really great ideas, and before the newbie tournament, I need to get an updated or an expanded hacking video out, and another one on target prioritization, which is something really important. Who do you shoot? How do you choose your targets? all that kind of stuff. That all has to happen ideally in the next week or so. So there's going to be a lot of those. I'm also producing a video that I don't know whether I don't know. I think I might put it out for members as well. Actually, I'm going to do a members and Patreons. I'm going to do a review of the 3 missions that make up that newbie tournament, and just talk through, you know, the possible ways to approach the mission, the key things to note, the key ways of how it sort of flows together, and what you need to consider as you approach, and how you approach your, do you want to go first, do you want to go second, all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to be doing that for the newbies of that tournament, just so they can have a little bit of a primer and be like, okay, before they start their list building. And I might put that out actually for members and patrons as well, because it'll be there, but that's going to be a long freaking video, because a single mission I can talk for about 20-30 minutes on, so get freaking comfortable and bring snacks. Need some help on Corregidor. Yeah, so Machine is coming to the newbie tournament, and there was a whole discussion about which particular army he was going to bring. So I said that I'd lend him my Corregidor and he could play that, because he's never played anything that isn't Pano before, and the whole concept of not having BS14 is leaving him in a bit of a cold sweat. So, you know, it's going to be great. I'm writing his lists. He's going to see them on the day that they need to be submitted, along with a little note of how to play it, and then I'm going to just send him off into the future. What could go wrong? So we shall find out how nice Machine is to me between here and there, and then you'll find out, he'll know, based on that, exactly how good his lists are going to be. Can I get to 250 points in nothing but servant bots? I think their AVA stops it, but it would be funny. Anyway, so there's that. So there is that. Now, Mike, you were talking about Warcrow. The lovely, lovely Warcrow. And the challenges with it and where it's at. And it's in a difficult spot. Let's talk about this. And this, again, Kaz, this is what I mean by not just being positive, because I got involved with Warcrow before it dropped and was really hyped for it. And Emmy, speak to you soon. Message me. We will sort out 22nd and stuff before then and blah, blah, blah. It's great. Glad you could join. Thank you for coming. So, Warcrow. So I was involved, as in, like, in contact with CB and looking at stuff and all this kind of thing. Really hyped about it. Did interviews with Hoopu, who's a fantastic human being. Really, really lovely human being. I've got a lot, just really lovely person. Anyway, and then it dropped. And as I've talked about before, we hit that initial problem where it's kind of, right, here's a 250 point game. You can't get 250 points. You can't buy that. That's not one of the options. Which wasn't great. And then slowly we built up to the point where you could mono build with the initial release armies in Northern Territories and Hegemony of Embasic. But if you didn't want to play those were your options. Then Adventures dropped, which brought with it the PVC Scions, which was fine for those that liked it, and the cards came out and you could play those. I'm not a fan of PVC. Appreciate that, Kaz. Yeah, I wanted to be sure that you didn't find what I was saying incredibly negative and dark. It's, yeah. Thank you. I'm glad we're on the same page. And then CNN dropped, and they had the same issue where you couldn't play 250, and now you're sort of getting there. And then Scions dropped, and Feudum dropped, and they're building up now to the point where we will, at some point early next year, first quarter, I'd imagine, we will be playing 250 points with them. This is fine. But it's not really taken off. It's not really kind of gone, boom. The people that love it, the people that evangelize for it, do. You know, if you find somebody who plays Warcrow, they play Warcrow. That is the thing. That is the thing. And they're very serious about it. Because it is a really fun, deep, but light game. It's quite fluffy and it's quite fun and it's quite beer and pretzely, but there's also this crunch behind it, and then there's these mechanics in it that make it really interesting and really engaging, and it's just a really fun system. So why hasn't it done the do? Why hasn't it sort of gone out into the world? There's a number of issues, in my opinion, with it. And the first is with these. It's with the miniatures. Because you see, Warcrow has a problem. It has a SEOcast problem. Now these little guys here, these are from the new Song of the Dormant box. And the light infantry for Scions in there are SEOcast. And actually, I don't think I can do it properly justice here, but they have like Wolverine claws on their hands, yeah? And you can't, yep, you can kind of see, they're a bit wobbly, they're a bit janky, they point inwards, they don't look very sharp, they look like they're going to bludgeon you to death rather than slice you up, because SEOcast just isn't that refined. Putting the miniatures together sucked. It was really rough. The mould lines, you can't quite get to them, and you can't use a file on it because it's SEOcast. You have to use a sharp blade, and it's really kind of and it's just not a nice experience to work with SEOcast. And half of the new Song of the Dormant box was SEOcast. And then we're about to get another wave of miniatures coming out. I've got the officers for Scions on order, and they're SEOcast. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want more SEOcast. It's not a nice material. It sucks to work with. Some of the details are soft. Some of the details are missing, you know. It breaks really easily. It's hard to work with, and it snaps if you look at it funny. It's just, oh, God. Are they purposely dragging it? No, I don't think they are. I think Blissful Badger, right, Mike, coming back to you, Blissful Badger, because you need to have a full army available with options to make it something worth getting into, question mark. Especially with new systems, you're going to get, in the worst case scenario, you're going to get a buddy that you split the box with, and that's going to be your community for a while. And if you can only play the miniatures that have been released, and it's not a full game, and it's the same ones week in, week out, you're not going to play that game very much. And if you don't play it very much, you're not going to evangelize for it. People aren't going to see it. If people don't see it, they're not going to join, and that's going to stifle the growth. When we got to the point where there was 250 points available for the two main armies that were released, what, you're going to play the same 250 points week in, week out? That gets old really quickly, and that is the problem. Yeah, yes, you can play at lower points, but that's not where the game shines. That's not what it's designed for. There is certain mechanics inside of the system. So, okay, there are a number of turns in each game. No, a number of rounds in each game. Each round is split into a number of turns. During a turn, you can activate a unit, basically. So a squad or a trooper or whatever. You can activate a thing. The number of turns that you have in a round should be less than the number of units you have in your army. So you do not activate everything in your turn in Warcrow. This is the thing. You have to decide who's going to activate and who's not. Except if you have 5 turns in a game and they've only released 5 units, well, everything else is activated. A key functionality of the system is gone. It's just not there. That's the flavour, you know? And it's stuff like that. You can't see the game working until it's at its full level. Even though you may learn at a lower point, playing the game proper, you need that full capability. You don't want to be playing the same army week in, week out. It's boring. That's the problem that they had, in my opinion. They're not dragging it. Agreed, Raven. I personally think they themselves haven't really decided what they want the identity of the game to be. See, Raven, I think they have, but I think it's classic CB, and I'm going to come to that. I also like Minute Metal, and why I chose Infinity instead. Blissful Ledger, I get that. I get that. Metal would be better. Who has a buddy? I thought Infinity was a solo game. Is it not? Oh crap. I might need to sell all of my models. I don't have a gaming buddy, sadly. Overboard. If you want to get yourself a gaming buddy, first thing, buy yourself some clogs. Buddies will fall from the sky from the Apaches that they're flying with their clogs on. It's definitely a thing that will happen. Right, so those things did not help. I'm going to do the last thing that didn't help. Doesn't help to this day. And then we're going to talk about what I think CB are up to. Last thing doesn't help with Warcrow is inexpensive. Oh my days, it's expensive. So I have Hegemony and I have Scions of the Elder Bioth. Those are my two armies that I run. And right, I've got to load the web page because I don't want to do it a disservice by getting it wrong. Now, there are inside of Hegemony some really, really beautiful miniatures. There are some absolutely stunning miniatures, yeah? No two ways about that. They're gorgeous. Now, can you load? You can load. Hopefully this will show. This is going to look terrible on screen. Boop. I'm going to do it this way. This is incredibly professional. So this here, chaps and chapettes, that is a Black Angel. That is, as you can see, clearly a cavalry unit. Now you get two of those in a box. You get two of them. This is great. They're going to cost you €70. That's a lot of cash to pass on two miniatures. There is a lot of units in this game that are just expensive, that just physically cost a lot of money. Yeah, I think your standard line units are 45 euros. It's a lot of money. You're getting up to 300 plus euros to get to that 250 point army. And a lot of it's going to be serialcast, and it's going to suck. You know, if it was all Unicool, it would be like, damn, that's expensive. But have you seen the miniatures? I showed off a little while back the Warwick. It's glorious. It's a Unicool miniature. It's huge. It's just... hang on. He's down there somewhere. Are you still down here, Dave? Dave? Yeah. Should we break it? You know, that is a glorious miniature. There is no two ways about it. It is detailed. It is pretty. It's nice. And it's like 45 euros. It's not a cheap amount of money, but it's big. There's a heft to it. There's a quality to it. You take it out of the box and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, it's pretty. The detail, the pilots in it, everything. It's got so much character. And then I get like the line troopers for both the Elder Bioth and for Hegemony are serialcast, and they suck. And you want me to spend the same amount of money on them, where they're this poor quality substandard material that snaps if you look at it funny, sucks to work with, is poorly detailed, and you want me to spend the same on that as I do on them? Nah. They're just not good enough for the money that Corvus Belli is asking. That is the problem with serialcast, and that's what's really hurting it, because it's in every starter box of serialcast. And it's just not a good material. Little Stinker, good evening, hello. I was going to nab the new Scions and Feudal models, but my wallet didn't feel like being $160 lighter. I'll just get them later, I suppose. I hear you. It's also the size of your head. I have a very small head. I don't. I have a huge head. It's the size of a small moon. But it is. I don't know if it's quite the size of my head. Is it the size of my head? It's not quite. There's two. I need two to be the size of my head. It's just perspective. But it is a big miniature. It is a big mini. Should we do an infinity comparison? Let's do an infinity comparison. That's useful. There you go. There's a Zanshi. I can't even see my blooming camera properly. Let's just get the camera properly. There is a Zenshi. So that is side by side for scale. We can do it even more fun. Yeah, a limited edition Marut, ladies and gentlemen. A limited edition Marut. He a big boy. There's no two ways about it. And so I don't mind spending 40 odd euros on that one because it's pretty freaking good. But if it was Seriocast, no. So I think the price point that they're at and the quality of the miniatures they're putting out is not helping. They keep screwing up on quality control. There was a whole, like, they didn't include some cards. So the game uses cards. They didn't include some cards in a whole load of boxes that were really important. Like, they just weren't there. And they went, oh, yeah, no, we didn't include those. Oh, we'll get them to you later. Oh, yeah, but yeah. It was just really frustrating. Never mind. Looked a lot bigger. Depth was off. Yes, Gaz. My head is not that small. It is not that big, but it is still a big unit. So yeah, they have those problems. And they continue to use Seriocast. And it's just, that does not help. If your first experience of this system, you've not played the game, you've not read the rules. Because let's be honest, we get our new game and we don't start with the rulebook. We start with minis. And you're in there and you're getting them everything built and it's all very exciting. And then when everything calms down and you've glued all your fingers together, then it's time to open the rulebook and look at that. But if your first experience is this Seriocast, things are bent, things are snapped, the details are soft, like... I opened my first starter box of Winter in the North, which was the original 2-player battle box from last year. I opened it up. The first miniature I looked at had a piece that was snapped off and missing. I'm nearly done painting my Feudum from the base and beyond. Apparently one of my sword hilts snapped off. Dude, no, no. Oh, that sucks. Dude, oh. They are pretty miniatures, and that's the thing. And if they were Unical, they'd be freaking glorious. It is why, like, I've got to do a review for Song of the Dormant, and it's one of those things where it's like, as you say, it's $160, 100 odd euros, 140 odd euros, and the review is very much going to be, I bought it because I loved it, and I think it's great. But I can't recommend that you do. And the problem that I have is that I don't think that Corvus Belli themselves often know how to position their products. They understand their game, but they don't understand how to communicate that to the wider community. And I think there's been some changes made recently which are interesting, but I don't think, like, we have the whole set of videos that have come out for Warcrow and for, actually it's mostly Warcrow, isn't it, I think, that was shot by the guy that did Vanguard Tactics. He's involved with them now. And 4 separate conversations in 4 separate communities that I have listened to predominantly and not chipped into, where people have just said, I don't like that style, I don't like his approach, I don't like the feel, it feels like 40k, and we're not 40k. It's like, the approach is wrong, the feel is wrong, and because everything's been a bit wonky and a bit janky, the community online isn't necessarily there, which means we're not seeing a lot of battle reports. The ones that we aren't not necessarily consistent, and it's hurting the system. They need to get their messaging right. They need to get the reason that people should buy this right. They need to sort their quality control. They need to sort out Seriocast and get rid of it. Let's be honest. And then they need to look at their pricing if this system is to fly. Because, you know, I talked about the state of the game for Warcrow a couple of months ago, And so many comments were, the pricing is horrific. If it's stopping people getting into the game, there is a problem. There is definitely a problem. Yeah, Blissful Badger, it is hard to talk people. There needs to be a compelling reason. There needs to be a really compelling reason. And if you talk that good fight, if you put that, you know, you get your 2-player starter set sorted, you put that on the table, you get your friend to try it, and they're like, cool, I want to buy this. So, yeah, how is it? Oh, God, can I build the miniatures for you? Because they kind of suck. Don't, whatever you do, store them in a miniature storage box because they'll break. Oh, and that's going to be over 140 euros. The game behind the price, the game behind Seercast, the game behind Corvus Belli not understanding what the hell they've got is really good. It's really great. But the product itself, in between that, it's so inconsistent. Some of the stuff that they've brought out, like the war rig we just looked at, and some of it, plenty of the other ones, the Unical stuff is just, it's glorious. Yeah. If I wasn't a CB stand and I dropped $150 on a 2-player box and got an unlucky Seercast result, I'd probably wash my hands of the system. That is fair. That is fair. And some of the stuff that I've seen, I don't, yeah. It's so disappointing, especially when you stand it next to Infinity and you go, okay, they make the odd goof with Infinity, but not this. They need a little bit of a rethink on it, because the community is, see it with the comments you guys are putting out there, the community is waiting for them to unscrew this situation and being like, we'll support you when this isn't a complete dog's breakfast. And I want to push it. I've started to do like the how to play and stuff with it, which we're working on. We've got more of that to come. But like I said, you can see that the view rate on those videos on the how to play is much lower than this is the new stuff that's coming out. And that means that the people that have bought into it are way, 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 way beyond the people that are getting into it. And for a 1-year-old system, which is small, that's not great. That's not great. And I want to see it succeed. And I'm trying to do my best to help, but yeah, like I say, Song on the Dormant, the best 2-player starter box that you probably shouldn't buy. Yeah, my one turned up in French. Had a hell of a time getting there. Yeah, anyway. By the by. It's a weird one, because I want to love this system and I want to get it on the table, and it's like it plays in about an hour or so, and you've got these nice mechanics and all the different armies have got their own distinct feel, and hell yes. And it's the lore is deep and the world is interesting and the concepts behind it are glorious, and then you get the product in your hand and you're like, oh. Come on, CB, just let us love it. Just let us love it and feel good about buying it. You know? I've got some more on order as well that's coming in for more of my hegemony, and like I said, the bits for Scions, I'm going to try and keep up with that, but it's so expensive. It's difficult. It's difficult. How many of you guys actually own it? And how many of you actually own it and have played it? Because those are two different things as well. Hang on, I need a drink. I'm dying over here. This is the problem. Too much talking. Do a live stream, they said. Be exciting, they said. It is exciting. I do like it. It is nice talking to you guys. Had 2 weeks off. None of you missed me. I was supposed to be back last week. Didn't turn up. No one even messaged. I noticed you not noticing. I wasn't here. I was very sad, very disappointed. But also, actually I haven't done that. I need to do that. If you haven't already and you have one, could you please go over and give us like a follow on Twitch? Because I want to get that sorted. I want to do some painting stuff on Twitch, and I want to get that partnered because it will help grow the channel and stuff like that. So if you could do that, that'd be great. I don't own or play. Yeah. Mike, yeah, it's giving me Necromunda vibes. Expensive for a Friday night beer and pretzel time. Yeah, I'd go with that. I'd go with that. It is not a cheap date. Even the buy-in on the 2-player is like, oof. You were sitting here waiting for the stream. It's there. Oh, it's already up. You were over there. Shush. You own and have played. And Raven, right, is it Raven or Raven? Which way round is it? But whichever way round it is, I like Raven. It's not a game for you. You didn't like it. What didn't you like about it out of interest? That's interesting. You're the first person that I've heard who doesn't like it. You weirdo. You're in the right place, clearly. Clearly. I've played it. I have enjoyed the games that I've played. Very much so. It's been a very fun game to engage with. But I can see actually why you wouldn't. Especially if you don't like custom dice. Especially, yeah. I think the narrative side's interesting. There's a lot of potential there. It just needs a bit of an allons-y, a little bit of a drive forward. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? CB have got a roadmap ahead for this through to next year. We know that I think early next year we're going to get the dwarves. We're going to get Mountain Haven dwarves, so that will finish the big 5. And there's more to come, but I don't know. I think CB needs to sort out the quality issues, the price issues. Seocast issue needs to go, and then they need to communicate this better. They need to get people on board in a meaningful way. Can they do it? That is the question. Who knows? Who freaking knows? I hope so. I'd like to see it succeed. It would be good. It's a nice system. Anywho, enough of that. Enough of that jazz. I think we've covered Warcrow now. It's basically dead. It is basically dead. I wanted to talk about a little bit as well. I have notes. I like stuff I want to talk about because I always end up talking to you guys and I have an idea of what I want to talk about. Totally goes out the window as soon as normally Kaz or something like that starts. Mike's also guilty of this stuff. Does that answer your question as well, Mike? What you were talking about with Warcrow at the start? Does that make sense? Let me know. I'm just a hobbyist, and we'll stick with CB through thick and thin. But it means right. Right, so it is actually a name. So I say it like Raven, but without the E, so Raven. Nice, that's a really cool name. I'm stealing that one. I'm going to use that at some point. Little stinker, if you found something that you love, stick with it. You got to do what you love. It's crucial. It's very, very important. So, yeah, especially when you're spending money on it and time on it. And this hobby is not light on time. It requires a lot of time. So you really got to be loving it, you know. Definitely. So, which is another thing that was on my mind this week is finding time. We're at a point, we're definitely at a golden age with wargaming at the moment, aren't we? With the amount of new stuff that's dropping every 15 minutes. Like, I saw the StarCraft game that was out in Spiel last week, and that's just making some waves all over the place. People have waited for this to come on. So it's a Bethesda, I think, game. StarCraft, the IP is owned by. I think it's Bethesda, one of those big faceless, soulless companies. Anyway, and oh. Kaz, can you stop with the Star Wars Legion? I'm just about to talk about how little time I have, and you're sat over there going, here's temptation. Was I looking at the Star Wars Legion starter boxes this week? Yes, I was. Did I buy any? No, I didn't. Was it freaking close? Yes, it freaking was. Dear Lord. Like, it doesn't know if it's beer and pretzel or competitive. Now, that's interesting, Raven. I can see that. I can see that Warcrow has that duality of being both competitive and fluffy at the same time, and it isn't. Yeah, I can see how you get there. I can see how you get there. Definitely. But yeah, so we had that StarCraft game. It's finally been announced, and they've got the miniatures out, and then it's all the big razzmatazz and all the big, big sort of noise. Let's just say it looks pretty. I didn't look at anything to do with the gameplay. I have no interest in StarCraft, never have done. It's not one that's ever hooked me, and and they said there's a 9-year roadmap on it. I just felt exhausted hearing that. That for a moment, that felt that gave me No Man's Sky vibes. That was no, for the next 20 years you'll be. Oh God, that's a long time to be having a roadmap for a game that hasn't really dropped yet. That is definitely computer gaming vibes. But yeah, the CEO of Archon, who are making StarCraft, apparently at Spiel this weekend said 9-year roadmap. I don't have that in me. I don't have it in me to start a game that has a 9-year roadmap. That just feels exhausting. I don't know if I'll play StarCraft, but I'll buy them. I've already ordered the. I don't even know how to say that. Zeratul. StarCraft is such a big part of my gaming childhood, which is cool, Kaz. The people like you. That is really, really great. Have something old edition. Yeah, 9 years, Blissful Badger. That exactly my response. A 9-year roadmap. Kaz, how do you feel knowing that you have 9 years of purchases ahead of you that somebody has already planned out for you? That just feels tiring. Anyway. Oh, other game. A roadmap when your game hasn't even got into players' hands is crazy. Scrap that 9-year roadmap when player figures. Yeah. That's it, little stinker. We don't know how the community is going to respond to this one, and it's kind of something that's on my mind a lot, is the amount of time. I've become, since, like, I'm doing, thanks to you, in no small part to you guys, a lot of the happy people with all the little Dice Calls logos down the side there. You're members, there's patrons here too. You don't have that tag, because we can't give that to you here, but anyway. You guys are supporting me so I can spend more time doing this, and I'm really conscious of the fact that I want to cover more stuff. There's more stuff that I want to bring to the channel, but there is so little time. Yeah, I showed my Scions earlier. I want to do battle reports. I want to push this damn system, even if CB can't get their head out their backside and get the system right. I want to promote this. I think there's something here that people should see. But how many games, how many systems can you play? I mean play. I don't mean own. I don't mean have miniatures for. I mean actually play. There is a finite amount of brain space that you have to learn rules, to play, to actually get the game in. It's difficult, and including, yeah, Robin, yes, including microtransactions, absolutely. Who are the members? Well, you'll remember, because you've got a name next, you've got a mark next to you, Overlord. You see the little symbols, the little thing next to your name, little dice scored logo? That means you remember. But people like Mike, he's a Patreon, so he doesn't have one, but he's there. I mean, honestly, now I don't know I will spend money. I'm sure Blizzard dumped money on them to make this work. Apparently, Kaz, they had a fight with Blizzard. It was Blizzard, thank you. Apparently, they had a fight. Archon, who were making the system, had a fight with Blizzard to get them to give them the IP, because Blizzard didn't want to. But these guys really, really wanted to, so it took several years of basically smacking Blizzard around the head to make it work. But, you know, why do we have horse armour? Where did that come from? Robin, I'm so confused. Right, Blood Bowl is coming again. Yeah. Actually play and not just have miniatures for. Why are you taking shots at me? Kaz, it's the same. Infinity, Warcrow, Eldfall, Bolt Action. These are my 4, like, I love these, and I don't feel like I feel that they're spinning plates, and there's only probably 2 that I can keep going to any great extent. And then when I go for the 3rd one, everything starts wobbling, and if I try to go for the 4th, then it's all going sideways. But I want to do them all. And I want to get back into Drop Zone Commander, and I want to get into War Machine. And what drops? Mike's a grey name. He probably wears clogs. I think that if Mike was to wear clogs, they would probably be some of the most impressive clogs that you've seen, and very prone to asking awkward questions, because that's the man's MO. Poldax, good evening, Poldax. Hello, welcome. Good to see you. How are you, buddy? Oh yeah. Okay, Horse Armor. Yes, I remember. I mean, Blizzard already has a bad taste for minigames after all the fighting with Games Workshop prior. That is as may be, but if they can't get beyond, you wear Timberland boots. I could see that. That doesn't surprise me, Mike. And I don't know how you're going to take that, but that doesn't surprise me. I can see that. That about you, I understand. Not shocked. But yeah, so dropping StarCraft into the middle of that, into the middle of the time where we have so many other systems, so many established IPs in this sector. I mean, people will buy it, like yourself, Kaz. It's the thing that's going to happen because you've got that, the member berries. You've got the feels from history. Now, yeah, that's cool. But it's difficult. We have these systems and they're very demanding. Infinity is very demanding of your time, the energy, the required time to learn and play the system. Yeah, Poldax, yes they are. Yes they are. Even if they don't message you back when you send them a nice long video. Anywho, aloha. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, you have this finite amount of time to hobby, and if you've got demanding systems that are going to require hours of your time beyond the tabletop to upkeep, because you keep getting updates from Corvus Belly every 15 minutes, it's tough. You have to make a choice, and you have to have a life. I get to spend more time on this than most people because I can do this as part of my job effectively now because of you guys, because of you bosses. But if you have a day job and you have a social life and you have a family and you have a desire to sleep and to eat and to do things other than paint, dice, blah, it's really tough. It's really tough for the amount of time that this is required. And I think, how do you choose? How do you choose which systems to take, which ones not, and make sure that you're dedicating enough time to all of them to get the maximum out of it? It's a tough choice, and I think it's like with the live services issues with computer gaming. I think wargaming is trying to pick up some of the issues with the computer games had, where these live services games on computer games were demanding 10, 15 hours a week from all their players just for doing the things, to do the check-ins, to spend the time, blah, 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 blah. And then you've got 5 games that want that. You're like, I don't have that amount of hours in a given week free to invest on a computer game, so I can't do all of them. And I'm starting to feel like wargaming's getting a little bit that way. Infinity used to be great because we had so many factions and you would get miniatures released for a few of them and all the rest. Night, Robin. Good to see you, buddy. Timberland's made of wood. You'd get a release for a few factions each month, and it would rotate, and so that would be fine. But now we have that, and you also have Warcrow, and they seem to have upped the rate at which stuff, or it feels like they've upped the rate of which stuff's coming out. So, the buy-in with Corvus Belly products now has got higher, and then there are other systems that are trying to do the same, and it's just got intense. Mwah, Poldax. StarCraft does have a cult following. Will that equate to games, or will that equate to ownership? Will you get community, or will you get collectors? That's the question. Halo, yeah. The Clog Army. Cloggies. And Mike, yeah, and Halo, and the Halo game that's come out. I heard a lot of hype around that, similar to what I'm hearing about StarCraft, and a few people bought in, but I don't know, is it doing anything around your area? Because it's doing nothing around here. I don't know anyone that I'm aware of that owns it, let alone plays it. It's got the brand recognition, but it doesn't have the lineage. It doesn't have the support. Cool. Yeah, no, I get that. This is not a cheap hobby by any stretch of the imagination. Taking on another system, taking on another army in an existing system is a major financial investment, and if you have multiple systems, that chalks up pretty damn quick. Let's be honest. So, yeah, I worry about that. I worry about the health of the community from that perspective. But handful of people, Kaz. Yeah, that's the thing. And a handful of people is not enough to keep a system going. It's not enough to pay a development team. It's not enough to keep things growing. And it is the computer game market again. You know, how many systems do we need? How many ways can we fracture the wargaming community into different systems before it's not viable for these systems to go, and you end up with a lot of dead miniatures that just aren't supported by an existing system? It concerns me. I worry about such things. So that's why, you know, within our community locally, you can play anything that you want, clearly, but there is a core of Infinity. There is a core of bolt action. We have quite a few Eldfall players, because if you play Infinity, Eldfall is the easiest jump ever. And I know it's hard to get in the US, although they have said there are quite a few suppliers over there. I did have a chat with Samo from Free Company. If you play Infinity, Eldfall is the simplest game to jump into, because it's N3. It's Infinity N3, basically. So that's great. But then, yeah, Warcrow as well. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time commitment. It worries me. It does worry me. Yes. How many games do you guys play? I mean play. I don't mean own. On average, because I think I'd say 2.5. Mostly because I'm going to get a lot more Warcrow in, but you know, I haven't done that yet. Well, a handful play, but I know lots of people who bought them and used just to have them. Yeah. Collecting is a thing, but that's not good for the longevity of the system, because there comes a point where you're not going to attract new people in just by having miniatures on the shelf. You've got to have a game behind it. You've got to have something for people to buy into. And ownership of miniatures is not, you know, it's not a lot. It's not enough for everybody. So only war games. I'm not going to get you started on board games. Only war games. I don't get enough time for board games anymore. I've got a reasonable collection. Never opened it. You're missing a treat, Kaz. There's some gorgeous miniatures in there, and there is a really good game hidden inside that box waiting for your love. So you should definitely do that. But actually, I think play 3, collect. Well, you don't ask that. What 3 do you play, Kaz? Not Eldfall, apparently, which is something you should correct as soon as humanly possible. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day in a minute, because I'm actually quite tired. I got a flu jab today. I don't do well with vaccinations. They absolutely wipe me out. My body doesn't take them very well, so I'm really tired. But let's do 2.5. See, there you go. That's the way to do it, Blissful Badger. 2.5. Clearly, that's a reasonable thing to do. I agree with your approach. That's a quick game and a collect to buy. Yeah, I've heard it's a quick game. It's doing okay. Okay, good to know, Mike. It's interesting. I've not seen it anywhere. Infinity, Star Wars, Legion, and Middle Earth. Yeah. That is a hefty combination there, young Kaz. 40k Battletech Spearhead. Blissful Badger needs more Infinity in that list. Still resisting Battletech. I can resist Battletech easier than I can resist Legion. Legion is still calling me. I keep having the things drop across the screen on a regular basis. Oh, they're just releasing this. Oh, no. Tobacco, Skylar. My main games are Infinity, Old World, and BattleTech these days. That is a good combination. Fairly good range, but you apparently like your games crunchy. Good job. I approve of this mix. I think if there was a system that I would buy to own the miniatures, it would be BattleTech. So, Infinity, Bolt Action, and Marvel Crisis waiting to play more. See, just drop the 40k and the AOS, the Spearhead, Infinity, Bolt Action. Put those in. Trust me, you'll love it. It'll be great. You can keep the Bolt Action, the BattleTech, because that's just classy. But yeah, people need to play more Infinity. Does Confrontation count? I have that. So up for like 20 years. I think if you've owned it for 20 years and you're asking whether it counts, it probably doesn't, because then that comes under what I classify as stuff, which is stuff that sits in the cupboard and doesn't do anything other than just being there. I think there's room for them all, but organised play separates the casual from the competitive, and it should be targeted as such. I hear you, Mike, but if we have all of these systems and everybody buys a random smattering of all of them, then you don't have a cohesive community. You end up with these little isolated pockets of 3 players that play this system with 5 players who play this system and 2 players that play this system. And I don't know, competition is a good thing, but doesn't Gundam have a miniatures game coming out? Yeah, and that's making them some serious waves in a lot of places. I think it is out. You know? I think it is out, and I'm hearing good things. Apparently it's quite light and quite fun. I can't speak. I've not really looked into it. Because there's certain abysses you don't want to look into, and I worry that if I start looking into that particular one, it'll result in me owning Gundams as well as the game, and then it's all gone wrong. The marketing structure approach for each type of player is key. Yeah, I will never... Wargaming companies make marketing incredibly difficult. They just don't seem to understand how to talk to their market. And it's really bewildering a lot of the time. I don't get it. And I mean, this channel wouldn't exist if Corvus Belli was good at teaching people to play their system bluntly. So, you know, small things. The 40k is sadly the most prominent in the area I travel to play. Yeah, no, I can imagine. It's still ubiquitous. It's still the big draw. It's the ticket. It's the starting one. And I get that. I do. I understand. I think it will be thus for quite some time, but it's not as bad as it used to be. But it's still definitely a thing. Infinity all the way around. The setting, the gameplay, and the community makes it all unbeatable for me. Yeah. Excuse me. It is. Infinity, yeah, as my players locally will tell you, I often tell them that Infinity will ruin you for other systems, because given the opportunity it will. The more you put in, the more it gives back. You get used to playing that type of system where you have that level of control and that level of flow and that level of sort of, yeah, choice, and you go to other systems and it's kind of... I like playing Bolt Action because when I play Bolt Action, I'm kind of like, yay, this is fine. Got miniatures on the board, this is fun. It doesn't feel like an event, like a a moment. And there's not the cinema that is involved with Infinity. You know, for non-members, I had a league game. We're running locally an escalation league. It was the second round. I played a newer member of our community, but very good guy, very capable player on Saturday night. And there were some real cinematic moments. Infinity gives you that moment of just like epic, cool, you know? And I don't have that really, to be honest with you, with Bolt Action. Bolt Action's fun. It's a good, like, the units moving around and playing toy soldiers. It's really good fun. And I love that. But it's not Infinity. And that's true of a lot of systems. it gives so much and takes all. Yes, yes, it does, Koon. Every single euro you will give it, every second of your thought, every brain cell it will consume. But like, so on Saturday night, a little moment as a demonstration, if you don't play Infinity, the kind of things that this system will do. We were playing a game called Panic Room, where you have to control a room in the middle of the board, 8-inch by 8-inch room in the middle of the board. And my opponent had run a dude and laid some mines in the room, so I couldn't get in theory. And then he put a freaking great werewolf in there, McMurder, if you need a name for that particular bundle of fluff and happiness, McMurder. He was sat in there, and my opponent was like, right, I controlled the room, I've got this covered now, done, thank you. So in my turn, I moved up a tag, I moved a big robot, and it got line of fire on McMurder, and for reasons best known to McMurder, he absolutely pooped himself and dropped a smoke grenade at his feet, so I couldn't see him. And I was like, if he dodges, I'm in trouble, because he can move around and I won't see him and I'll have to move and da-da-da. But he didn't. He just pooped himself and dropped a smoke grenade. I was like, oh, that's convenient. So then I moved up a group of 3 ninjas and an engineer, effectively. Dodged a ninja into the room, the mines exploded. Missed the ninja, ninja was fine. And then the 3 ninjas moved through the smoke into base-to-base combat with the werewolf, at which point there was this massive melee between these 3 ninjas and a werewolf, and it was just like this epic moment, you know? And the werewolf, rather than taking on the main guy, turned and bit the head off of one of the little ninjas rather than the big guy ninja, at which point the big guy ninja got very upset, sliced his head clean off in one, and it was just this epic combat. And as the smoke parted, there's just this headless corpse of a werewolf lying on the floor, and a ninja crumpled to the side, and the big bad boss ninja, in my head, had the head of the werewolf on his back, on a spike, just there for the rest of the game. And it was just this is Infinity. This is what this game is about. I love those moments. That will stay with me. I got a picture, I took a photo of, just as we set the combat up, as the ninjas got into base to base with the werewolf, and I took a photo and I was like, this is either going to be stupid, epic, or epically stupid. And it's going to be one of those 3, and I know that's happening, you know? Let's all play Zombicide. I've heard good things about Zombicide. I looked at it. It's a lot of zombies to paint. I've got too many Germans to paint for Bolt Action as it is. I don't need more. Blissful Badger, exactly. Just these epic moments, and that is what Infinity does. And I have stories like that going back to N2, which I realised the other day. I've been playing Infinity now 13 years. So these stories are going back 13 years of a activation in a game over a decade ago, and I can see it. I can remember what was happening, because that moment was just so freaking cool. I don't have that with any of the other systems that I've played. That's what Infinity do. It ruins you for other ones. It's a problem. So it's a real issue. Something needs to be done. More people need to play, so we have more moments. Yay! Anywho. So yeah. No, I've actually covered a lot of the stuff. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to leave that alone. We're going to talk about that another time. I was going to show you over here. So if you haven't seen, I put out a video on Friday about the army that I'm going to take to the planetarium next year. We're going to go shock army back on Cemento. I got the stuff over there that I'm basing, that I'm using to base those miniatures on. It's so cool. I was going to show you, but you can wait. That'll happen. Zombicide is a great simple board game. My wife, who's not into this stuff, all actually plays Zombicide with me, especially after getting the supernatural characters. Cool. I've heard that about it. I've heard it's a lot of fun, and it's that kind of a giggles game. And I think that's fantastic. There needs to be systems like that. I get the impression that the Star Trek Away team from Gale Force 9 is like that. I've looked at that many times. They were asking for content creators to do like a review and stuff of it, and I was like, I'd love to I'd love to get involved with that, but yeah, that looks like a similar sort of thing, just fun and giggly. I wonder if the werewolf player thought it was epic too. He did actually. He really enjoyed killing off the little ninja. He knew that McMurrow was dead. The second, as I moved them into the room, and my ninja dove through and set the mines off so that the rest could come through afterwards, and McMurrow was stood in smoke, so ninjas don't make any sound. So he couldn't respond. He just had to wait until out of the smoke, these three guys appeared. And he knew he was in trouble. He knew it was done. Because of the amount of, I was throwing 4 dice, I think. And it was over. It was just a matter of how badly it was going to go, effectively. So he enjoyed it too. He enjoyed it very much too. Didn't enjoy the rest of the game. The rest of the game was not nice, but oh hi. Rinselias over on Twitch. Hi. Good to see you. Didn't expect to see you still streaming. Sleepers for the week. I'm going soon, so I'm not going to be here long. But Tanako, yes, I am. I started Infinity 13 years ago, N2 way back in the day. So I've been through all the editions since, taken breaks at various points for various reasons, but I think I've accepted the fact that I'm an Infinity player, and while they still make it, I'll still be buying it. That's pretty much it. That's where we are now. That's the truth of the matter, and I've accepted this. What about yourself? How long have you been playing the Spanish game? Okay. Yeah. There's a lot going on at the moment. So I think this week I haven't decided. I've got some videos that I'm going to put out tomorrow evening for members and Patreons, and that will be Wednesday for everyone else. That one I haven't decided on, but the one on Friday is going to be interesting, and talking about flyers and Infinity and how much of a challenge they are. We've got some really cool stuff coming up, so look forward to that. And there's going to be Rinselias, you started with Miros at the end of N2, so I feel oof, that is a long time ago. That is a long time ago. I remember the end of N2 when N3 was coming out, and it was like, new edition, what will happen? And then it dropped, and it was just this cool thing. It was so cool. I think hopefully this week I'm going to do, because we're working very hard, there's going to be a lot about the Shock Army stuff, so I hope you like the Shock Army stuff, but I'm kind of hyped. We're doing a lot of research at the moment for the Shock Army lore. I've started writing it, but Campaign Paradiso will be central to the story of my Shock Army that I'm taking to the Interplanetario next year. So look forward to that stuff coming soon. Oh! Late arrival. Well, I'm glad you made it. I was like, I can't stay on for him much longer, but you know, hopefully he can make an appearance, and then there you are. You know, I'm glad you finally actually made it in. Didn't think you were going to be honest with you, but you know, good to see you. How are you, buddy? You're back from your trip to North Africa, aren't you? At this point, been busy working on some light burn designs. Fancy. 3 men, 1 clog. God, now there goes the neighbourhood. If Neil's here and Overboard's here, then it's going to be a lot of clog talk. My ears were burning. Yeah, well, you know, you can probably get a cream for that. But yes, I was literally just about to bail because I'm quite tired, and it's all good. And yes, back from Africa, because you were back a little while back, weren't you? I can't remember. And I need to reply to you. You sent me a message about the stuff in the things, I think. I needed to sort the thing out for my, and the good story, yeah? Anywho, about 14 years at this point. I started after I graduated high school and got Infinity and War Machine. Mostly played War Machine, but I slowly got into Infinity Collected before delving hard in 2014. Good stuff. Well, To be fair, War Machine and Infinity at the same time is going to be a challenge. Those are two very crunchy systems. Doing both is going to be a lot. Mike, I am not taking US Ariadne. There is not a situation where I am taking US Ariadne. I appreciate your optimism. I'll tell you what though. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. I'll tell you what, Mike. When the refresh for US Ariadne drops, right, which is going to be next year. Okay, I think it's going to be first quarter of next year. When that happens, I will take them on as an army, and I will feature them on the channel, and I'll do a whole thing about them just for you. How does that sound? Does that sound good? When they get refreshed, they'll come into rotation, and they'll come into the channel in a big way. Does that seem fair? 2 o'clock. What did I miss in Clog News? You missed everything. I'm not going back over it. We'll be here another 2 hours. There was a lot. There was clogs. There were Dutch people in Apache attack helicopters with clogs on. You did miss that. That was quite a lot. That was a whole thing. Yeah, I'm expecting the April slot like the Imperial Service got this year. Rinsalias, exactly. I think that we're going to see US Ariadne, April slot, along with Mount Haven Dwarves for Warcrow at the same time. There's an expensive period of time in my life. I imagine those will both be at the same time, so yeah. Well, I quit War Machine a while ago when Mark III came out, and funnily enough, despite being a crunchy system, Battletech is my casual fun game. Oh, you're that guy. I see, Tanaka. You are. I take the thing that other people get a migraine over, and that's just my light snack. Good job. Love it. I have that, actually, to be fair, I have that with Infinity. If I'm honest, a lot of the time, especially with new players, they're kind of like, oh, you know, it's so hard work. And I'm like, yeah, it's really heavy. I'll throw a list together in 4 minutes and kick your ass, given the opportunity. So it's not always. I know machines still lurking in here, all turning and go, well, actually, but we can do that. Apparently, Apache attack helicopters make a unique sound when the pilots wear cloaks. They do. They do. It's a real thing. Oh, dear God. One man crowd. You could say the Apache was incognito. Oh, that hurt me on a spiritual level. That really did. I feel dirty, used. Yes, it is 11:20 at night here. Thank you all for joining. It was lovely to be back again on both Twitch and on YouTube. If you do have a Twitch, please go and follow me there, because I'm getting close to the thing and it's going to be stuff and things. Chris was talking about how I paint my stuff. The plan is to actually, I might try at some point and finish this guy on a stream on Twitch, because I'm going to try and do painting on Twitch. It is mostly self-consciousness that's not letting me do that. I'm kind of like, I'm not that good of a painter, but that's how you improve. Glad to have finally caught you live, even though towards the end it's less and less live. Thank you, Celius. Yes, I'm slowly dying over here. But yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. That was a proper clog dad joke. Yes, it was. Yeah, for goodness sake. Need to play again in the league. Yes, we do. Always enjoy the streams. Always glad to have you here, Blissful Badger. Did I miss the party? Sander, are you Sander? Are you Sander from across the border? If you want to see a shameless painter on Twitch, I'll be on tomorrow. Return to Sander. I blame you for my late arrival, Hydra. You missed last week and my brain went blank. Somebody missed me. No one said anything. I was like, oh no, I missed it. And yeah, there was a whole load of stuff going on. I wasn't able to get here. Really apologise for that one. I was like, well, I'm gonna get some messages about missing me. No one did. Prefect, good to see you, gorgeous. How are you? Welcome. You've missed a lot of insanity. So are you Sander here and Rinsalius over there? Is that the same, or is that? I'm so confused. Yerd. Yes. Yes. Follow me in both places. I feel the love. Thank you so much. For those of you who won't know, Sander, who is in YouTube, or in Sullius, who's over in Twitch, is one of the nicest human beings you could possibly meet. He is one of the leaders for me in the Belgium Infinity community, and is just generally a fantastic human being. So that's not the same though. Okay. I put the love letter into a clog and sent it afloat in the North Sea. Thank you so much. Sanders, the superior Belgian. Peak Belgian. Absolutely. Lord of Waffle. I went there. But also a fantastic human being. And a great kisser. But anyway, that's a different story entirely. I am going to bail because I am absolutely shattered and I have much to do. But I will be... God. No, don't. Right. I will be back this time next week. There's going to be 2 videos this week coming your way. The one on Friday is going to be entirely controversial. I expect hate and comments. I look forward to that. You're 1/4... Neil, 3 Men in the Shed, Gonks Gaming, is 1/4 Belgian. Although he just said he's 1/4 Belgium, so he's 1/4 of the country, which is, you know, I'll be winning with them by then. I have no doubt, Mike. Belgio-German aviation, God's sake. Right, we're now descending. It's gonna be clog jokes in like 30 seconds, so I'm gonna hit the eject button before that all happens. All of you, thank you so much for joining. Kaz, thank you so much for the super chats. I appreciated it hugely as ever. The support for the channel from all of the members and patrons is amazing. But all of you, whether you are or are not a member of Patreon, being here and joining in and being part of the community is a huge thing, and I really, really do appreciate it. It's always a great time to hang out with you all. I will be back live next Monday. 2 more videos this week, maybe 3, because I've got stuff to do. But thank you so much. You have a great week. Make sure you spend some hobby time. Make sure you get some rest and get some sleep and hydrate. You need a drink, I can see it. But love to you all, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care and